Welcome to the Barbara Christensen podcast. The views expressed during this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of the streaming services or the host, and these are being shared for entertainment possibilities only. Please connect with your doctor before taking on any new wellness activities, changing your diet or supplementation routine. Barbara Christensen is a certified personal trainer holding a diploma in nutrition and additional certifications in aromatherapy, Reiki, and other energetic and therapeutic modalities. This podcast will open your mind to the tools to clear the chaos from your life, from your body, release the beliefs in your being, activate your awareness, and remove any blocks holding you back from the life you want to live. Now let's get started. Welcome to the podcast. Okay, so this week we are talking about the little aliens within our gut that are so in control of our life and our joy and our happiness. So, key factors in metabolic disorders really do have to do, we're finding out more and more, with the strains of these bacteria in our gut. And one of the things that, we're finding more is that, they do not reduce visceral fat in a lot of cases. I am working more and more with clients that are on these quick weight loss dietary fads. And yes, some people they really do. They are unhealthy. They are looking for and needing something to help them quickly reduce the pounds. But what we are actually doing is reducing our muscle mass, right? We are reducing the subcutaneous tissue fat rather than that visceral fat. And in fact, some of the case studies that they show you when you look at these, especially the prepackaged ones, right? They're not showing you current data. Right? I used to work with my clients a lot with this very specific program that was 3 weeks long to kind of reset your gut, and beautiful products, beautiful clinical trials, right? And then when everything was published, they changed the formulation, but they don't have to take away the fact that they have this clinical data, even though they now have changed the product, right? And so a lot of what we see with some of these packaged programs is this clinical data where they're like, look at what these people did in 12 weeks, right? I mean, isn't $1,500 worth regaining your life? And these are people that don't realize that these studies, they also had these people on like the ephedra, right? Like on a stimulant the whole time. And then we see, right, there was significant muscle loss with these. There's a slowing of future metabolism. There's generally a lot of processed crap in these type of programs. And we don't know how dramatically impacting this is long-term to your gut bacteria. They know that people can come out of these types of programs with increased dysbiosis, and that will lead to some long-term complications. Okay? Now, I am always reading the latest studies when it comes to our gut bacteria. And there was a recent study with a specific strain that was used in combination with fiber as to how it impacts weight management, inflammation, metabolism, and they didn't do any other dietary or physical changes. What they found was that this strain prevented fat mass accumulation, the LPS, which is a level they test for that shows the damaged gut barrier, right? So those levels decreased, okay? So showing that that gut barrier was starting to heal itself. The body weight decreased. The glucose metabolism improved. The inflammation markers improved. They found that it was protective against NSAID-induced GI side effects. It reduced mucosal dysbiosis, and it enhanced the protein involved in insulin secretion. And for those of you that struggle with those cravings, the satiety signaling, right? The thing that tells your brain you are full. Now, when placed with another strain, over 4 weeks, participants had significantly increased muscle mass, muscle strength, and endurance, right? And there was a big anti-fatigue effect with this second strain. That's a big one for me. A lot of you know that because, I'm a certified personal trainer, and like many certified personal trainers, I went through a period where I was not being very healthy with my system. Plus, I had had all the problems of IBS from when I was younger, right? So I already had this bad bacteria within my system. And my adrenals completely crashed, and I have slowly rebuilt. And so having that anti-fatigue effect is a big win for me. Okay. Now we know that athletes do have a more diverse gut microbiome, but if you can't work out, then you lose that ability for that diversity if you do not add in some supplementation. Okay. And if you don't change your diet. Now, this one bacteria they found in studies, especially with the elderly, okay, where they can't really do that, they saw an increased grip strength, okay. They saw after 8 weeks that their bone loss reduced and the serum vitamin D levels were increased. And in this current space that we are living in right now, we know now how important that vitamin D is. It works on so many different pathways in our body, right? They found that the fat amount over the 8 weeks didn't change significantly in the amount of fat, but the diversity actually did. They found an increase in brown fat, which infants have, right? And a decrease in that bad fat. And so this brown fat improves the metabolism. It's packed with iron-rich mitochondria, right? So that's very important. Brown fat is so associated these days with better cardiovascular wellness, with lowering the risk of certain metabolic disorders. Now, radiologists were doing PET scans in people with cancer when we really started realizing that adults can actually have brown fat as well. The glucose was like coming and being like attracted to the brown fat. And they had thought initially in some of these people that had brown fat, that it was finding these cancers, these lymphomas, but it actually was being attracted to the brown fat. Okay. So what we do know now is that brown fat equates to lower levels of visceral fat. Visceral fat is unhealthy, right? This is what causes us to have skinny, unhealthy people, is generally their visceral fat. And so until they started finding this in those PET scans and really started researching this, they really didn't think that there was a possibility of adults having brown fat. And when they started researching this strain of bacteria, they didn't think that there was anything that we could do to influence the production of brown fat in our bodies. They figured, oh, either you are this lucky adult that has it or you don't have it. And we now know that this isn't the case. It's all about the gut, okay? All of this has to do with our gut-brain axis, the central nervous system and the enteric nervous system linking up, right? So our central nervous system is what controls most functions of the body and mind. It is called central because it's the brain going and integrating all of this information that it gathers from the rest of the body and then sending out things to coordinate and influence our body activities. Now, the enteric nervous system is the mesh-like system of neurons that maintains the function of the gastrointestinal tract. Okay, a lot of people are missing that due to bad gut diversity, having had surgeries, right? Not having the right stimulation. And we do know that all of this impacts our gut. We also know a rich polyphenol diet, which is something that I discussed in a big part in my Micronutrient Happiness book. This is part of what they are saying is this French paradox, right? Why don't French people get fat? Why are they like so happy? And it isn't just nutrition or biochemistry or metabolism. It is heart health, it is mood. And the more we're learning, there is this very significant like triangulation between all of this. One of the big things, I've talked about this before, but TMAO is a byproduct, right, of our bad gut bacteria. And that's a big impactor. TMAO enhances plaque buildup. It is caused by too much bad bacteria taking the choline and the L-carnitine that we eat. Especially, they are finding higher rates in red meat, eggs, dairy, energy drinks. And it breaks that down into the trimethylene and oxide, or TMAO. And the higher your TMAO, the higher your comorbidity, right? The higher your risk of death is. But we're now finding that there are compounds in like olive oil, pomegranate, right? That's called dimethyl L butanol, dimethyl 1-butanol. It's DMB. It inhibits the bad bacterial production of the TMAO. So they even did a carnitine challenge where they had vegans and vegetarians, right, as well as the carnivores, eating a diet rich in L-carnitine for a year. And what they found was that the vegans and vegetarians had a lower fasting level of TMAO even when eating this rich diet in L-carnitine, right? So peas, hemp seeds, olive oil, rich polyphenol, all of this in the diet supports now what we seem to see as a key to keeping the gut from producing some of the bad bacteria. And the hypothesis is that it is creating more of the good bacteria that tamps down that bad byproduct being created. Now, pharma, of course, has already jumped onto the bandwagon, and they are working to create a DMB drug to block that pathway without killing your microbiota. But again, nature and natural supplementation has already created the solution for us, right? So we can control our gut by harnessing nature. Cacao, green tea, grapes, organic soy, plant polyphenols, specific fibers, resistant starches like isofiber, There's others. I believe Binumo is one of them, but they help our diversity within our microbiome composition that we are seeking, right? So that we have a good mesh support system in place. Now, when we think about food as medicine, a lot of people, right, have really focused in on food and nature in terms of how is it going to support my immune system? How is it going to support like getting rid of bad things in my gut, right? And so there's a lot of research that's going into the bactericidal effects of food. And so they've studied like Tabasco, glycolic acid, NaC, toothpaste, vinegar, cinnamon, neem, licorice, clove, right? They found that all of these are high in antibacterial values. Even aspartame and coffee were antibacterial in some cases. And some of these effects can be great, right, for the alteration of bad gut flora, right? But others not so much. So, like saccharin triggers gut dysbiosis, where stevia and honey are both very supportive of our good gut bacteria and growth of that good gut bacteria. So, my current recommendation that I give to my wellness clients that are, especially when they're on a trendy diet, is that if you're going to do one of these trendy diets, especially one of these boxed systems, okay, that are really just high synthetic vitamins attached to like cardboard, more or less. I mean, they just are not good. If you're doing that, if you're doing something that's going to create high TMAO in your body, you really need to do a once a month reboot to your gut system. And I offer that to my clients. It's under $30 and it's a system that over 3 days, so they can do it like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it reboots that axis and resets some of those bad bacterias. I also generally have them add in, okay, microbiota support. So getting those high polyphenols, also using specific strains, right, of the bacteria and fiber, phytobiotics to make sure that they are supporting their gut while they're going through this, synergizing the body to keep that operating system running properly, reducing the right type of fat that we want to reduce, as well as having that underlying support to increase the lean muscle mass. For those that have been on one of those programs that have gotten very sick from it, or like have found that it really impacts their mood, because gut does equal mood, we can sub out some of those trendy foods for healthier substitutes and add in some targeted support tools to deal with things like appetite control, energy, joint pain, gut repair, things that the trendy diet has impacted for them. And so somebody that's working with me, that's dealing with a program like this, right? Like generally, yeah, we're not going to do the traditional intermittent fast because I understand that, especially the adrenal system needs some sort of nutrient right out of the gate. Like I start my day every day with my, right, like my cacao. I do my cacao, I feed my gut. I used to do my turmeric, right? Sometimes I will add in then do a turmeric tea later, right? But I'm really taking care of like with the turmeric, the ginger, right? Or the cacao, I'm helping my gut bacteria kind of wake up, start moving. I'm adding in at that time my micronutrient support. I'm adding in my gut strain. Okay. And then when I do start feeling the actual hunger, right? My body says, oh, I'm hungry now. Then I will do a plant-based protein shake. Okay. Something that is just gets me going. It has the fiber, it has some nutrients. Sometimes I'll do it as a green smoothie, sometimes just as protein and water, depending on my day. And then a few hours later, it's usually about 2 hours later, right? Like I'm hungry again for lunch. If I do a green smoothie, it'll be a little bit longer. But if I do just the protein, I'm ready for lunch. Okay? I do plant-based. You might want to do Mediterranean, but it's going to be high in those good fibers, high in those good, proteins, easy to digest, right? If I'm working with someone that's getting off of one of these diets, we will add more micronutrient support, okay, with each one of these meals. A few hours later, I will generally have them do a very easy, low-calorie, digestible snack. Okay, add in some sort of support for their energy levels. Okay, that's not going to keep them up the whole night, but it's going to, and also not push out the cortisol, not push out, stress out the adrenals, and help get them through that sort of slump, right? And then dinner comes, right? And at dinner, again, doing plant-based or Mediterranean, high good fibery foods, high protein foods. We're doing that with that micronutrient support. We're doing that if this is someone who doesn't really need a snack before bed, we're doing that with their strain, their gut strain. For some people, which is a lot of people, they again are going to need that little bit of protein with water before they go into bed, right? And so we do this and we start healing. We start feeling better, okay? We heal our moods. We become more kind to ourselves. We find that our gut is now making a positive difference in our life rather than a negative difference. And that's what's important, because yes, when you reduce your weight, there's often a reduction of a lot of the problems that go along with it. But do you want to reduce your lifespan? That's, I tell people they have to balance, right? What is being created that I cannot see yet? What is the awareness that I'm getting right now about the life that I would love to be living? Where do I want my life to be in a year? Where do I want my life to be in 5 years? Okay. The other day I saw a license plate with my daughter, and we realized it said my initials, and then it said 3770. And we laughed because we realized when my daughter is 37, I will be 70. And I want my 70 to be the new 45. So that is my overview goal, right? Everything that I'm researching, everything that I'm doing, everything that I move forward with is the goal of long-term wellness, long-term energy, long-term sustainability. Okay. So I really hope this helps you guys. If you are dealing with one of these trendy diets and you're just feeling like crap, please reach out. You can find me through the Paleo Vegeo Facebook page or the Paleo Vegeo Instagram. You can also find me at my website. My business is Light Create LLC. You can find me at belightcreate.com. All right. So much love to you all. I hope you have a beautiful, healthy, fiber-rich, protein-rich, gut-supportive week. And I will see you next time. Bye.